and signed off on those mock-ups. So I think this is a very good lesson learned that we did, and I think we're going to adopt it in our most of our IT projects. Comprehensive training programs for all users, and we had user involvement for gap analysis in major project phases, and innovative RIS awareness campaigns that we have to run. Again, it's going to be a major shift of working activities for all of us, from operators to supervisors to middle management to management, senior management, and even our CEO. In addition to this, this project gave us an opportunity to test new things, things like analytics. It wasn't part of the scope. It wasn't what we wanted to do at the beginning. But since we had a parallel program going on, we had our ERP project going on at the same time, and we rolled out one phase of that. So we had a three-way discussion between us, Honeywell, and SAP, our ERP contractor. And we said, how about if we turn that CEO dashboard into something more? We did a POC on analytics. For instance, you have a crude coming in. Today your price is $50. You want to see the effect of it on the operation, on the profitability, if the price of crude goes up to 55 or comes down to 45. So these are the sort of things that we're testing, and we actually did some mock-ups and some POCs which were successful. And now, today again, we have another project in parallel going on as analytics project, which wouldn't have been possible without having both RIS and SAP in place. And that project, when it's done, then it could be a good, useful tool for the board discussion. So at the board meeting, when our management are discussing, I'm like, if you're in a refining business, you know this, Penny, that there will be two points of view to discuss and analyze your efficiency or the your refinery operation. If it's from the investment point of view, you look at how much I invested in this refinery, how much am I putting into the refinery in terms of crude, and how much am I getting out of it in terms of, let's say, refined products. But in actuality, what happens in the refineries, the marketing gives you a set or agreed price on the crude. And then they give you an agreed price on the refined product. And then, at the end of the day, they say that, okay, based on this agreed price and this agreed price at the output, this was your profitability. So if you look at it from one angle, you see yourself very efficient and profitable. But if you go to the actual prices and actual values, they see you as not money making and a loser in the market. So a tool like this, a predictive analytic, let's say, tool, will give you that flexibility that on live, let's say on the flight, you discuss and explain to the board and to the whomever is interested to know that if you're assuming the price of the crude is this would be the profitability of the company. If you're assuming the price of the crude is, let's say, at the lower value, that would have been the outcome. So this is a very important topic to discuss during the board meeting, during the management discussions, and tools like this will give you that flexibility. And it's very important and valuable for our management. So what lies for us tomorrow? We're not going to stop with RIS. We're going to evolve it into something more. Definitely in 2018, we're going to work on stabilizing the system and maybe optimizing the system. Then we put it in 2019 plus, but we're actually doing that. We're going to do the data analytics. We're going to do the production advisory maybe. We're going to test the augmented reality. These are the sort of things that we can capture out of, let's say, the results of the iRIS project. Then 2020 plus, maybe we move on towards the predictive maintenance or predictions of the predictive maintenance. and then remote operation maybe, and 2021 maybe enterprise optimization again. So who knows? I mean, like, there are new things are coming in. Maybe in 2022 plan for digital 3.0. Who knows? I mean, like, new things are coming in and we're testing all of that, and things are evolving. As I said, as we're moving on during the project, we identified opportunities, we tried to test them, and some of them worked, some of them I'm sure will be even more interesting for us. Other stuff that we discussed actually was, like, for instance, doing the predictive analysis on the operation itself. Like, for instance, finding out how we can extend the longevity of the catalyst. That is something that we have in mind, and we want to do predictive analysis on. But that would be possible only when we have the system stable. So with that, I come to a conclusion of the project, of the presentation, and we're still in the project mode. So any questions I could answer, I'll be happy to take them. Yes?
Mr. Al-Ansari, thank you for the presentation and this remarkable initiative. I would like to ask you what you consider the most challenging in similar exercises. What did you find in this journey as the most challenging factor that you take care as the success factor?
I would say not just with this particular project, but within any IIoT project, the biggest challenge of all of that, and for our case, it was a big challenge as well, to just make this idea fly, was the cybersecurity. Because it's very important for the project, for the operation people to be to know that the project that you're implementing from the IT point of view, it's safe, and it's not going to touch the integrity of their system. So the biggest challenge that we had from day one was to convince them that it's safe to touch the historian database. And we were not allowed before this project to even come close to the historian database. And as you know, that's a focal point. That's the, let's say, the central repository system for us for accessing the data. So the way that we had to overcome it is to give them a peace of mind by placing a data diode between the historian and historian shadow database. And we told them, relax. I mean, like, your systems are fine. We're not going to even come to your network. All we're going to do, we're just going to capture a shadow and a copy of your data sources, historian database, place it in the IT network, and we'll do whatever we want to do. Even we can crash it, and no one cares. So this, I would say, is the cybersecurity is the biggest challenge.
The historian is one of the database. And you said there were more than 20 applications?
17.
17. Where the other application lies? There was on the office domain?
You see, you have the IT domain in the top. And then you have the other extreme, which is the DCS system. What we have done, we have segregated the DCS network, let's say, including the historian and LIMS, from the upper layer. So anything beyond the historian database would be somewhere that we can go and we can fetch information from. For our case, it's that you have the historian database, the data diode, that's the demarcation line, then you have the shadow database sitting on top of the data diode. So all the information which you require for the, let's call it the refinery information systems, are being extracted from the historian database. However, for the KPI system, you need to extract some of the data from the SAP, and at the same time extract some information from the RIS.
Okay.
And then you can have your KPIs displayed.
And you said now you are in the state of the Fed.
Right.
Now, how did you test the actual database, or it is just simulation or? Because during FAT you wanted to test those 17
yes, a copy of the historian database is provided to Honeywell to do the testing and everything.
And the other application, which the SAP and the other, so you just, okay.
Again, simulated data. Yeah.
Which is replicate from the actual.
Yes, from the actual.
Okay.
Yeah. Any other question? All right. I hope it wasn't a boring presentation.
What, can I have a question? Actually, of course I know about the project, I'm very close to it, but something that always was very interesting for me was that this project got awarded in the middle of so-called the oil crisis, where most of other customers around us, they were slashing budgets, even for much smaller projects.
Yeah.
But still TAKREER was brave enough to go and say, no, the project will proceed, and we think that's the right time to do it. So how difficult was to convince your management, and what actually give you the confidence personally to say, guys, yes, I know there are tough times now, but this is the right time to do it? What was your rationale?
Yeah, I mean, that's true. That's true. But the fact is that this project was awarded not because it's an IT project or because it's a, let's say, digitization project. It was awarded because at that time, the whole ADNOC group went through a major, let's say, expansion. It's logical to expand in the oil and gas business when the market is bad. So our company opted to double its capacity. So out of a $10 billion plus project, a project at this scale is just a necessity. And as I said, with the complexity that everybody was envisaging, and we were confident that it's going to be almost very difficult, if not impossible, to handle effectively without such a complex, let's say, system, so it had to go through. And actually we had little resistance from our management to go with this project.
Thank you very much.
The timing of it was very important. Otherwise the idea was there even years back, but there was no necessity for it. All right? Okay, thank you very much.
Okay.
Thank you.
Just on behalf of the Honeywell User Group Steering Committee, I'd just like to thank Fuad for preparing this presentation and delivering it today. I think it generated a lot of questions, so people are obviously interested in this subject. I'm sure you'll be willing to take some more questions afterwards if anybody's got anything else to discuss.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
It's a small gift.
Thank you.
Thank you.
$100 chocolate.
Thank you.